Well, as for today, there is so much to share, so much to say, and it all kind of has to do today with the fact that I was in the coffee shop today where all my work gets sold, and there was a lady in there. She kind of told me she had some of my work, some things I made. I forget exactly what she said she had. One of them was a stuffed elephant that I made, but she kind of wanted a little memorial gift for her grandchildren because, not her grandchildren, but maybe, I guess I'd say perhaps, maybe her son and her nephews and nieces, maybe, because this was her mother and she meant her mother's grandchildren. So that was kind of the reason why, after she saw the things I made today, she donated me several pairs of jeans and several pairs of denim shirts, from which she said that those were her mother's shirts and jeans that she wanted little animals made from. And I asked her what kinds of animals she wanted. She kind of, like, I'd say, she saw the big walruses I made there. Those were the kind of the first ones I made, but they were just kind of a whole lot more work, and I came up with a smaller one that's less work and less material. I showed her the ones like these, and she kind of said that we could take care of those and do a little with them. And I told her that it was just the kind of thing, exactly what I could do. And oh, I tell you that she paid me real generously for them, paid me a great deal. And I told her that I could take upon that. And then I just kind of decided, from the materials I had and the materials I was given, that I could kind of be able to make little good ones. And I'd say there's just a lot of stuff we have that's going to come along on its way here, and little times here and there. And I'd say that there's just some stuff where we might have to put a little extra work in to kind of make the tusks here and there. But she told me that she just knew I was the only person she knew of that could do this. So I've decided I'm not going to show everything in this video, but as you all can see, I've kind of got a pair of black jeans here. She suggested that these would be good ones from which to make some of the body parts of the walrus, because it's thick. And then there was also some thin denim she had, which was in the shirts. She said it would be good for making the tusks. So we're going to kind of work about this for right now, kind of take care of this little matter best way it needs to be. And I'd say, as we're working about this is one thing I do, is I take pairs of jeans, and from a certain place I start to cut them. And usually about the place where the denim meets in a place like this, I usually will cut along that line, because the part that is in between the weave is usually the part that I need to work with, because in the place where it is sewn together at a little seam there, that is the part that I can't use. So have to kind of, I'd say, just get rid of that. And sometimes whenever I get done cutting all these things out and getting all the fabric cut out of them, usually that part ends up being thrown away because it's pretty much useless. So I'm just demonstrating at this point how I go along on this. And I'd say that right now we're going to come along the part of the weave that goes around the boot of the jeans, and come on up, try to cut it a little further and take a little step we need to take and make it a little brighter and stronger, and a little things in life that this is where it's going to go. I say there's going to be a lot to share and a lot to say, but I'd say this is how we're coming along here. I was very blessed to be able to have this opportunity to make some good business and be able to do a little something special for her memorial. And I hear this lady is going to have a birthday party for her late mother, and that all of her mother's grandchildren are going to be there, and she's going to have the little walruses when I get finished with them to give out as gifts there. So that's kind of the way we're hoping to work along on this, and I am hoping that I can get these done fairly soon, hopefully in just little enough time that we can have a little something to share here, because this is a tremendous amount of work and a great amount of work, and I say that it's all just going to be working together for the good in us all the time, all the way. I say that now I will tell you one thing, that these jeans, they kind of smell like smoke, and so do those other pairs of jeans and shirts I got today, but I'd say it's not a big deal because, I'd say, scents can come from anywhere. Different houses have different smells in them for different reasons. It could just be because of the potpourri, or could just be because of what they fill the air with, or any number of different things. So this is how it comes along on this, and this is how we cut it out, just come along these lines and make it so it's just a little bit of a better ways to go. I say that this work, it's going to be worth it in the end. Thank God we're going to kind of have it a little bit ways to go. So what I've just demonstrated there is how I cut a piece of leg off of a pair of jeans, but I will say this is kind of like the side you want to have out, and this is the side you want to have in. So what we do here is I'm going to take this pattern for a walrus body, and as you see, it's like, I'd say these jeans there look like they're a little different as far as how the little weave and design in them goes, but usually, I'd kind of try to follow along with the fibers on how I make things. So when you're doing black denim, something that you generally like to use is a whiteout pin. I've got one in here, and I've got to find it, but I will say that I've used plenty of those over many years, and that's the kind of thing that I've always kind of used to do this kind of work. It's hard to get a little prepared sometimes when you've got so much going on and so much to do, but I say that, I mean, always laying something down somewhere and forgetting where I put it, even when I'm about to do a video, to that matter. Gets a little old here and there, and it gets kind of tiring, and I get sick of it. But I tell you, I think I'm going to go check the other room, see if I left it there with the other stuff. Well, it turns out that I'm just laying things around in all the wrong places all the time. I bet you it's probably over here. Yeah, I say it was like right behind the tablet there, to that matter. And here's what I'm going to demonstrate is how I draw the lines according to this pattern to cut out this part of the walrus's body. And I'd say if it's black denim, you want to use a whiteout pin, because that is probably the best showing thing. Probably something I'd say that's not going to come off too easily, and probably not bleed through the fabric so easily. There's been too many years I've tried to use things like Sharpie markers. There's been years I've tried to use things like fabric paint to draw the lines. Sometimes that just didn't always go so well, but finally I just learned a new solution. And as a matter of fact, since I'm doing so much business buying these days, that is kind of all the more reason why I even went out to that matter and got on Amazon and purchased a whole bulk full of whiteout pins, just like I do with super glue, because I use so much of it, and kind of doing the same with whiteout pins because I use so many of them for so much of my work. So, as you see, I've got it traced on there, just like that. And this is what I'm showing now. And then I'm going to kind of take the pattern and go the other way about it. Try to make it come out on the other side in a little good ways. Try to make it shine like the night and all the time. And I say little talking in circles is what I do. I say that this is how it's going to come along. Work, work, work at it. Sometimes I say that it's hard to impress a lot of people. It's hard to get a lot of followers. And sometimes I'd say there's some things in life that you just don't do overnight. There's just about nothing in life that you learn overnight. So what I'd like to say is that I've gotten that much of the walrus done. And since there's like a little piece here, which unlike this piece, it kind of like, I'd say, has the tabs cut out. The only tab missing was the one that was supposed to be down here whenever I was cutting the original pattern out. So what we have to do there is kind of like trace in a little tab to add to its belly. So that's the kind of thing that is going to make the work come along fine, make the work come along so good. And I'd say now I've gotten both sides here, and as you see, I kind of did them from separate directions so that they go through separate directions of the weave, because most jeans have a weave in them that will kind of show you a little difference here and there. Like what I show you here is that this one doesn't have the tabs around the part where that goes towards the face, so I have to lay it down, and in order to separate the tabs from the rest of the fabric, lay it down and make another mark along that line to kind of keep it a little evener there, and kind of draw a line to the place where the little tabs are going to meet. And that's how far along I've come with that. I'd kind of say that what's going to be next is to kind of cut along these edges here, kind of make it come out great, and make it come out to a little work and a little time, and energy comes along and makes it so sweet and special for us all. For I say that this world is blessed. Like the lady said today, it was just so good that I just kind of learned some of the things I learned in the nick of time, because it was getting to the point where people were just kind of needing all the blessing of all I could do, all I could provide, and all that was in my work. So it's kind of come a long way. Oh, the days we brighten all the time. And I'm just hoping for one thing: when this lady gets around to having her birthday party for her late mother and getting all her grandchildren the gifts, that it's going to all go so well. Because I tell you, they will all have a little memorial gift from her. I'd like to mention the fact that some of those shirts just had very fancy designs in them, and there's some parts of them that I'd probably would hate to see go to waste on the making of too many tusks, which was what she was suggesting they were a good intended use for. But that's something, I mean, I'd say we're probably going to take care of that. And I'd say probably the parts of the shirts that have the big fancy designs on them, who knows what I can make out of those. Maybe just kind of like make some pillows and hopefully just try to find a way to maybe keep in touch. Probably kind of add that on as a little bonus here and there. But I'd say that this little work, I've got it to come along, and ta-da, it's all just neat. It brightens everybody's days. I say that there's just one little thing I'm going to kind of address here. There's a place here where finally I can get out a little blue denim, and this would be a good shade of blue from which to be able to make the walrus's underside and its fins and also its muzzle. Now I'd say when I start working along on these, I might even be using different colors for different parts of the walrus, different fabrics in different ways, but this is how I'm coming along here with this so far, and little things that shall matter the most. I bless this lady for donating me all this denim and paying me a good fortune a day. It was just a wonderful payment she made, and I'd say for one thing, sometimes it's always good to have somebody pay you a little extra for something, probably a little bit more than you'd think you'd normally charge, but it was a wonderful deal, so decided to take upon it, appreciate it, enjoy it, and deciding now that I'm got all this work here and got all this stuff to use, is probably getting to the point where now I could finally come on here to showcase how I do it. Come on, I tell you, like, cut along these lines. I'd say the work is coming a longer way. We're brightening up the world and brighten our days. Bless the children, Almighty God is pray. Oh, this work shall come along, and I say that this shall be a brighter world for you and me. I say, sometimes, just sometimes, there's little things you'd like to do as special little memorials for people. I say it's always wonderful that there's so much we can use and do with things, and I've been very pleased to be the one who was asked to do this project here today and given a good, payful bid on it. And I'd say it's just the kind of work that I'll have to have a little more to show of over time. And this little time in my life, oh, brighter joys, brighter days. I say, there comes a time when you kind of rip along the lines, and that's kind of what I sort of did here. Ripped along these lines, got a little something to cut off here, just to kind of make it a little bit more of a looser scrap that we'll have, and probably going to cut a little more off these jeans in the future, but this is how it goes for now. I say that we try not to get these pieces way all too much mixed up, but there'll be a little brighter days in our lives, come to think of it, as future comes along. And I say that there's probably a piece on here, yeah, this one, because this right here, we're going to kind of work on a couple more different sets of pieces here. There is kind of like one little piece for the fin, and we're going to work along on that, make brighter days, make better choices. I tell y'all that, oh yeah. Now see, you know, this denim, I'd say, who knows, probably because it was an old lady's pair, that's probably why it doesn't seem to have a weave in it. But I will say that we've got something back here we can use. We've got a pin, and when you're kind of tracing the pattern onto a blue denim, which is light enough on the back that you can see a pin mark on it, you can use a pin for that, an ink pen. So that's how this comes along. That's how this makes it work. That's how this makes it go. So I say that this little time in our lives, brighten our days, make our worlds better. I say this is how the work comes along, and oh gosh, I tell y'all that brighter days are brighter days. It's just a little time when we think of it that way. I'm not sure if this is going to come along right, but for this denim that doesn't seem to have a weave in it, I'd say we're going to kind of make this come along the best we can do it, perhaps, because patterns can only go one way. Patterns can only brighten our days. There's only certain ways they can go and certain things they can do. And I say that by making this work come along, it's just the kind of thing that I say we got this coming along fine, and here we go. I say that these are like the two little fins of the walrus we're making now, and there's going to be many more things I'm going to make, many more copies of this I'm going to make out of all the more pairs of jeans. And by now you see that I've made the fins on here, and it is coming to the point where it's coming about time to trace the belly of the walrus onto here. So we got to take care of that now, and I say this is how it's going to be coming along. We got a little right hand people here, and I say that this is the work that's coming along. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And there's going to be a couple of tabs here on this. Not sure I'm going to be able to do a video on how I sew these, because that's just a lot of work that's kind of hard to demonstrate until you've had enough practice. I've only made 2 of these just to experiment with a pattern out of just some older pairs of jeans, but I'd say that this is the kind of thing which is going to be for somebody's memorial. So sometimes we also know that people are in heaven and they're in a better place, like I'm sure this lady is, and we know that probably all the way from heaven they look down on us. There are angels in heaven that look down on us on the earth, and watch over us each day, make us who we are and what and how we live and what we need to be. I'd say they're always good watching over us, making little characters of us. They're always watching you and me. I believe they are always among us. I say that this is the kind of thing where we come along this way, and one more thing I have yet to make is the muzzle of the walrus. And there's probably going to be another material that the tusk will be made from. Not another material, but a different color of denim for the tusk. So we'll be taking care of that when the time comes to do it. But I'm thinking, since I'm kind of wearing myself out here, I will show you all now how I kind of did the underside here. It's the top thing you see, taking care of that. And here are the two patterns for the muzzle. We are going to cut the muzzle out and make it a little shape like it ought to be. I say that little work shall come and little work shall go. Brighten up our days, make us all happy people. Happy, how happy the songs that we sing. Little times, little ways. Oh, I tell y'all, people like some of us, the way we got a little hyped up when we were kids, that's kind of how it comes along and how it goes. And I'd say that we're going to make the muzzle come along here fine. We're going to get finished here, and we are going to kind of draw other lines in here just to kind of make it a little straighter. It's just the work. I don't know. But I think we are getting it ready here. Getting it ready to go. I see a little thing or two we might have to take care of here, but I have finally figured out what I needed to figure out, so I think that's been taken care of so far. Just the hard little work that comes along in things. We are going to draw this line here, and we are going to draw another line here. Take care of little matters here and there. Work a little here, work a little there. Work everywhere we can. So I say that I've already drawn the line. Here are the pieces for the muzzle. Might be time, maybe by now, to try to turn off this video, but there's going to come the day when I will probably get on here just to kind of do a little demonstration of cutting out these other pieces. Maybe even have the tusk piece ready by then. It's just going to be a little work here and there, but we're going to manage it well. We're going to take care of it well, I'd say. And I'm going to have to turn this off, and then I'm going to have to clean up these pattern pieces and rest a while. Well, I kind of decided to stop the video for a moment and try to resume it here. I'm thinking I might kind of, as I figure out what I'm going to do, sort of make these things out a little bit one at a time. I've already kind of cut out the two pieces to the body of the walrus, and there's a little step I need to take here. And one thing I'm going to start to do is to cut out these pieces of the dark blue that make the other parts. I've pretty much kind of decided how I'm going to come along on this. I do think it would be kind of good if it's going to be children. You try to make them all the same. The lady gave me permission to make them different as far as which colors to use for which parts of the fabric, or that I could combine it a little bit, but I've just kind of thought of it a little more further on and decided that sometimes, I mean, when it comes to kids, and there's been situations in life, I mean, I've been in situations where even adults, to that matter, if you have enough of something for everybody and it's all different, they fight over who gets what. I doubt that's going to be the situation with these kids, but just in case, we never know what's going to happen, just decide to kind of make it all the same so that there just doesn't get to be any debate. And this is going to be a special event, so with it being as special an event for the family as it's going to be, you kind of want things to go well. You don't want there to just be a lot of misery, argument, and debate among people as far as who gets what, if there's just going to be differences in everything. So that's how I decided to come along on this. I've already cut out the undersides of the fins here, and it is going to be to the point where I've decided now, time to cut out these little pieces for the muzzle here. There's going to come a video where I am going to decide what I will do as far as with the shirts that I mentioned, deciding which one I might just use the sleeves of to make the tusks. But that is something we're going to figure out here in a few steps or so after I get finished working on this one. But here is how I'm coming along on that. And then there's going to be one more thing I'll have to show after I get done with this. And you all will see it when it shows up and when I kind of show it on here. So it's just kind of the way that I've worked along on this, and just to show you a preview of some work I'm going to be doing in a little bit of my free time when I get away from the camera for a while. So that kind of shows a little more how it's going to come along right now. It's hard not to talk in circles when you're trying to do a good job and trying to present what you're doing, but I say that this is probably all going to go for good and make a little light shine in somebody's darkness, because we all gotta be the ones who kind of make life a little easier for those around us, for those we know, for those we see. And any time in life that things get a little different here and there, we just know that life is life, and there's going to be things in life that just going to be life. So sometimes we know that little times when people pass away, it's going to be among the times that we're going to mourn them and always remember them. So I'd like to show you all what I've got here. Finally got the underside of the walrus cut out. Probably going to be drawing a few more of these on, but I want to show you all what I've done with this other two pieces of black denim. I have taken the whiteout pen and traced out all the different parts of the walrus pattern onto them as far as how they are going to be cut out when the time comes to do so. This is enough to make 6 of them all together. So that's going to bring it a longer way. I will say I might look over here, see what I can find. And, you know, I do want to show you all how neat these shirts are. See this one here? You see it kind of has a little design of leaves on it. We got one over here. It has a little rabbit embroidered into it. And there's one we got here that has a little hem around the bottom of it that's sewn into it. And to be honest, thinking this might be the one we might end up using the sleeves of, because it only has something special on one part of it that I think we'd want to save. So that's kind of set aside there. And I'd like to show how there's quite a few here. I don't see anything really put into this one, so it might be the one that will work. And it's kind of a different color from the rest of them. And there's, last but not least, there's one more, and as you can see, it has like a couple of little fish on it, or 3 rather, and a pocket here. And let's see what's on the other side. Yes, it's a little rabbit going fishing is what it appears to be. So I think I probably see a couple that might be good for a different use, but I'd say this is probably the plainest one. So I think I'm gonna cut a sleeve off of it and take this one and use it to make the tusks. So that's how we're gonna go along with this. I think this is going to be quite a useful thing. This will be a lot of useful fabric, because you know, on this one there's just no design to be thrown away. And there's a lot of things that could be done with this work. This kind of work could be useful for a few other little purposes, but this is what I'm going to do just to kind of demonstrate what I do. And as you see, I've sort of cut along on this, and we got the hem right here in the middle. I think while I am at it, might go ahead and cut off the other sleeve as well, because this is going to be good work to last us in the long run. Take care of all things, take care of all good matters, and I say that work is going to be good, because we have a good way to go about this. I say these clothing, I mean, they might kind of smell a little bit like smoke, but I'd say that it's probably going to come out. There could be any number of reasons. Could be perfumes in them. There could perhaps be air fresheners in them. Anything could be a case, but we can work along on this. Hopefully it's not anything that I'm too badly allergic to. Not anything that just might cause me to sneeze, or might cause me to get watery-eyed or anything, but we know there's little reactions we get to different little things, and I've come along on this worked along on it, and I say that these are probably going to end up being the pieces on which we are going to draw the different parts for the tusk. So as I'm saying, we're going to get the pattern out here. We're going to show how we're going to draw on the tusk, and probably in this mess we've probably got a piece that could be of good use for a tusk. I don't know what happened with the piece, but I tell you, I think I have found it now, and I will say that this little work is what we're doing, and I've got another little one to kind of show you all here. And for how little these pieces of tusk are, this will just be little work we will have to do. And I say that work is work and all is all. And I say we can find the pen back here, and hopefully this pen's got some ink in it. Not sure whether it will, but there's a way to trace the tusk in and a way to trace it out. It's kind of an in and out process, you know. Hopefully one of these pins over here works. I don't know where I laid the one I had that did, but it turns out I'm probably finding one that's going to work here. You know, the Millward's funeral directors here in town, I tell you, you know, kind of get our pins from them, you know. I got at least one of their pins right here, and this is probably where I show you their logo on it. So that's the best that's going to turn out. Gotta make this turn out a little going both ways. Now I see that apparently there is a little bit of a weave in this thread, so we can kinda, I'd say perhaps, take it the other way. We've already kinda traced the tusks one way on it in this direction. Now we can kinda trace them the other way into the other direction, and I say little work here and there. That's how this is all supposed to come along. It's all supposed to be good when it finally comes out, making work last a little longer, the way it's going to go, the way it's going to do. I say that little times in our lives, we know that this is just a little ways of making things go. I tell you, this denim, I'd say the inside of it, it looks very pretty, but we're going to be showing the outside of it once we get it done. So we're working along on this, making it come out the way it needs to be, and I say this will be a little brighter in the longer run, showing a little grace and mercy in our own blessed time of need. Sometimes there's a little thing in life where praying gets a little hard, and praying gets to be a thing to do, but I say that we're working along on this the best we can. kind of a new experience to work with this particular kind of fabric, but I say that we're kind of working it like we can. I'll show you all how we got it here, and now we're finally going to cut these out and finally come to show what the work does for us. I say this will be a little neat way to go, show a little time in our lives when all is well, all is good. Sometimes, just sometimes, in our lives, there were things in life where we couldn't all do the same things. But in our lives, we work hard and make each day the best we can make of it and show each other the best we can be. I say that this is going to come out just fine once I get done with it. It's going to make a little life and bring a little brightness and encouragement and blessing to many, many, many people's days. So this is how I go about it, and then I'm going to show you all what I do when I get all the pieces cut out, and that's going to be the next thing I'm going to show, because I might not get around to sewing everything right away, but as soon as I do, there's the pieces that come about it, and I'll say that the work is going to be working fine all day, every day. I say that we're getting it along, making it come along as it needs to be, and perhaps make these little tusks come along right, because there's going to be more work involved the longer you stay with a project. So I say that there's going to be a little figuring out here to do. I think I've got it though. I think I've got it all settled here. I think I've got it all controlled. I think I've got it all mattered, and it's all working out. All for the better, all for the good. Because I say that there might be a little change need to be made here and there. I might have probably traced some of these tusks in the wrong direction here while going about this work, but it's all going to come out fine in the end. It's all going to come out dandy in the end. So I say that it'll be time for us to show what we're going to do next. And what I do after all the pieces are cut out is I take these little plastic sandwich bags and snack bags, and what I'll do is take all the pieces that have been cut from the fabric and combine them all into one bag. Sometimes if I cut out several of the same piece at the same time, I will kind of put each in their own set and put enough pieces to make each part of the set into one bag, and individually as I go along sew them and work on them set by set. And so the process continues after I get many more cut out, and that's how I keep up with my work. I just want to say at this moment, I say thanks for watching and stay tuned.